Hi everyone. So today we're taking a look at Ana Inari, a brand new character who's been added to Overwatch. Now, Ana fills out the roster in the support hero section, an area that has felt a little underwhelming to date. Now, she is a sniper, a long-range hero, with a slight twist. You see, her sniper rifle is biotic. That means, within the game's fiction as it were, it is capable of both healing and doing damage. Now, Ana really likes to stand at the back of the pack, firing in those healing shots to support her team. From my opinion, this is not necessarily a character you're going to be going out there and doing large amounts of damage with. For starters, when she targets an enemy hero, the damage she does is damage over time. That means it's a damage drain, essentially, a health drain. By doing this, she's not going to take off a sudden whacking great chunk of her enemy hero's health, more slowly whittling it down. Really, she comes into play as that classic support hero, throwing out debuffs and buffs for the team, making sure that essentially your damage potential is always just that little bit better than your opponent's. Essentially, if you're wailing away on a tank and she manages to land one of her draining shots, any additional damage going onto that hero is also taking into account that damage drain as well. That health is going to drain down that little bit faster. Now, the amount of damage she does is not huge. This really is a support character, so she comes to this game really with versatility in mind. Alongside the biotic rifle that can both heal and do damage depending on who it targets, she also has a healing grenade. This grenade can be fired towards your friendly teammates and will immediately give them a huge burst of health. Likewise, her stun dart will allow you to, stun your enemy heroes. Certainly when you start seeing those ultimates start to kick off, suddenly stunning your opponent, ending their ability to run their ultimate is wonderfully fun. As we know, McCree is a pain in the ass. Now we have a very good counter to McCree's ultimate. Simply stun him, put him on the ground and then shoot him in the head. Works for me. Now, overall, this is a hero that I've not exactly felt too at home with. I quite like sniper characters, but a sniper healer is a little bit difficult to work with in my opinion. For starters, because Ana doesn't have any kind of climbing or reaching mechanic, she doesn't have a way to get up onto some of those ledges unless she can find the staircase. That means that Ana is very positional. You're going to have to learn the maps well, know where the entry points to the higher terrain is and how to get out of them as well. Essentially, she's a character that is very much ground level for the majority of the time until you can find those ways up to a bit of height. But again, because she's not really a damage dealer, she's more about heals, putting her out on her own is not necessarily a great idea. She's very easy to pick off by other healers, by other snipers, should I say. Now, this tends to create a bit of a gameplay which, in my opinion, is more ground level, floating around at the back of the pack, throwing in those heals, and attempting to obviously keep healing using the biotic rifle as much as possible. But because it's a sniper rifle, you tend to find you're not actually using it in scoped mode that often because the accuracy, obviously with your teammates running around the way they are, it actually feels much better to use it hip fire mode and just keep pumping away at it. Literally blind firing, as it were, and hoping that your teammates are kind of in the way of the biotic rifle. The same can be said, I'm afraid, really for the sniping mechanic here when it's being used to damage your opponent. Again, it almost feels like whilst the pack are all milling around, just keep firing away, and if you heal your teammates, great. If you damage your opponent, even better. It doesn't quite feel to me, certainly in the number of games I've played, that she has a kind of definitive style, as it were, that feels really kind of locked in. It's going to be an interesting one to see how the community kind of adapts to her play style. More importantly, how the team supports her play style, because it is very much at the back of the pack. When you think about all the other healers, they all tend to be fairly up close and personal. Certainly with Lucio having to stay within range, and Mercy as well doesn't have a huge amount of range on her biotic healing tool there. The sniper rifle, you're basically talking about across the map, and that does mean that you're going to have to support Ana a lot more, in my opinion, than you would with someone like Mercy or Lucio, who can pretty much look after themselves, really. Again, that lack of travel powers is a real problem for Ana, but that healing grenade is pretty damn potent and powerful. If she's in range of you and she manages to throw that into the middle of the group, everybody's getting a big heal buff. Simple as that. She has that versatility, but I'm concerned that she's a bit limited in the kind of style of healing she's really able to bring here. She probably is a bit of a one-trick pony in the sense that that healing grenade is kind of her big boom, as it were. Her ability to use her ultimate to give a massive damage, health and defense boost to a particular character is really, really useful, and it comes into play again really around those ultimate activations. If you're able to give someone like Genji a big boost of damage and defense just as he pops his ultimate, he's going to be able to tear through the enemy team that much easier, especially if they try and focus him down. Likewise, throwing that onto a tank just before the big push, again, it's going to give you that little bit of extra leeway, a little bit more thrust as it were, and a little bit more defense to hopefully stand your ground during that push. Placed onto the right character at the right time, it really is a game changer, and it can break those deadlocks, situations where you're just bottlenecking against one another. Overall, Ana is a very interesting first character to be added to Overwatch. She has some really unique skills that fill out the roster as it were, but she does feel a little limited as a purely straight up healer as it were. For my mind, she's a bit more mixing it up down on street level, not only trying to pop in those healing shots and those healing grenades, but supporting the team with stuns and that ultimate ability. It's going to be very interesting to see how she works competitively and when she comes into play and on what maps. I don't feel she has absolute domination across all the different map types. I think she's going to come into play much more succinctly on certain maps than she will on others.